Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming to y'all with a big injury update for multiple players from the Washington football team. First of all, big shouts out to the Burgundy and Gold. Big shouts out to Taylor Heinicke and Torry McTyer for balling out, man. Couldn't have done it without y'all. J.D. McKissick as well. And this O-line, man. People are not talking about this offensive line enough. This offensive line is probably our most consistent position group right now as a whole. But, man, big win. Congratulations on the win, everybody. Again, especially Taylor Heinicke doing it in front of his hometown. Montez Sweat, Jamin Davis, Antonio Gibson, and Taylor Heinicke were all playing in their hometown city. And I'm just happy for all of them to get the win, but especially Taylor Heinicke. Y'all know I'm from Atlanta too, so I really wanted this win as well. But Taylor Heinicke, this is a bigger moment for him. Just like I said in my review video, I'm just a fan. He's the quarterback. He went out there and had one of the most memorable games of his life. The only way he can top this for him personally is to win some playoff games and Super Bowls. But as far as regular season games go, beating Atlanta in Atlanta means more to him than beating any of these division rivals. So I'm just really happy to see him get that win. This is like going to be the happiest week for him. You saw him in that post-game interview where he was talking about how his sister and brother-in-law allowed him to sit on their couch and believed in him and kept telling him to pursue his football dreams. And then for him to be able to come back and do this with them watching in the stadium was huge for him. So I always love to see guys go back and play either for or against the city that they're from. It always makes for a magical story. And I mean, this is as good as it gets. I mean, this win was more impressive than the Giants one. This was our best game, not only this year, and I could argue this is one of the best games of the season for the entire NFL, especially like the rewatch, even if you're just a neutral fan, not a fan of the Falcons or the Burgundy and Gold. But this may be one of our best performances in history as far as just like up and downs. You didn't know what's going to happen. Guys making play. That was beautiful. But sorry for the long intro. Just wanted to shout him out. I was looking at him on the screen and wanted to make sure I gave him the big shout out because he did his thing. Of course, like I said in my review video, he made his fair share of mistakes. But at the end of the day, he balled out and he's doing things that Burgundy and Gold quarterbacks haven't done in forever. Game-winning drive. Even just that alone. But again, we're here for injuries. So we're going to talk about everybody. Taylor Heinicke is not part of it. Again, I just saw his picture and I wanted to dive straight into injuries, but I had to shout him out because, I mean, you could just see the emotion in his face on how much this game meant to him. But we have a lot of injuries to cover. We have both good and bad news. We have Brandon Scherff, Jon Bostic, Logan Thomas, and many others to discuss. Also, just to let y'all know, all 22 footage is finally on the NFL Game Pass, so expect to get some film sessions. And even when I'm talking like this, instead of just looking at pictures like I did all last season, especially during the offseason, you would just see all 22 highlights from each player that I'm talking about and things like that. So get ready for all of that content about to go up because now NFL Network stopped playing around. But before we dive into everything, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, again, all 22 footage is out, so I'm excited, man. I get to finally get to work on seeing what's going on and also telling y'all what's going on. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists, so get ready for more content. It's over with, man. Time to get busy. Let's get it. All right, let's start with the bad news and probably the most important player. At the very least, the highest paid player that we're going to talk about today as far as injury reports go, Brandon Scherff. He has an MCL sprain and he will be out 2 to 3 weeks. And that's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm not going to lie. I thought it would end up being worse than that. I mean, the injury looked really bad. Again, I was at the game and like the way guys were kneeled down on the field while they were waiting for him to get up scared me. Usually when there's like a minor injury, guys just go to the sideline and all you see is trainers on the field. But it was like almost the entire team on the field on their knees. Some of them looked like they were praying. I was super scared. I thought it was like Brandon Scherff out for season type of stuff. Luckily, it's only 2 to 3 weeks. Still not great because that means Wes Schweitzer is going to have to start. And I love Wes Schweitzer as a guard, but then what if him or Eric Flowers gets hurt? Who's the backup to them? So I'm just worried about our depth getting a little bit thinner. But Wes Schweitzer is one of the best backup guards in the NFL, one of the better starting guards in the NFL, honestly. It was a really tough race between him and Eric Flowers, who was started left guard anyway, and we saw how well Wes Schweitzer played for us last year when Brandon Scherff was hurt. So I really want Brandon Scherff to come back just because, again, when you're fully loaded, you're more confident, and also if Wes Schweitzer or Eric Flowers were to get hurt, I guess it would be Sadiq Charles then. But I'm confident in, if everybody from now on is fully healthy, Wes Schweitzer starting, I'm confident in that starting five of the offensive line. I don't think we'll really miss much of a step at all. I mean, again, Wes Schweitzer is no Brandon Scherff, but he's still really good. Other teams will probably kill to have a Wes Schweitzer off of their bench. And it's crazy, too, because the Falcons had him, and they just didn't realize how good he was. We took him, brought him in as a backup, and then he ended up getting the starting job again when Brandon Scherff got hurt, and then he balled out last year. But as far as Brandon Scherff, man, he's already missed 18 games over the last 4 years and 16 over the last 3. And with him being on his franchise tag, I mean, that's rough. He's again showing that he cannot stay healthy. So now in the past 3 seasons, he's estimated to miss 18 to 19 games. And that's not even halfway through the season yet. But I'm really hoping he can stay healthy. Because, again, not even just because I really want him starting, but just as far as depth goes, Wes Schweitzer is a depth piece and not just starter is just way better. Because if somebody else gets hurt, that means Sadiq Charles is going to have to step up. And I like Sadiq Charles a lot as far as talent, but I haven't seen him play in a real regular season game yet enough to be confident in his ability to step in if there's an injury. That just makes us thinner at the position. Next up, linebacker Jon Bostic suffered a pec injury against Atlanta, and there's also a fear that it could be serious. So there will be an MRI to determine the severity of it, but it's not looking too good for Jon Bostic. So even if he's now out for season, which is something that may be a possibility, that may be in the cards for Jon Bostic right now, he's at least going to be out long enough to where we need to go figure out what we're going to do at linebacker. Because then that just leaves Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and Khalid Hudson, who's barely played at all. And then I guess you have your special teams guys, David Mayo and Jared Norris. I think it's time to go look at some linebackers. It was been time because Jon Bostic was our worst linebacker on the field. Granted, mentally, it was nice to have him as like an on-the-field coach. Like pre-snap, Jon Bostic was our best linebacker at identifying what's going on, calling defensive audibles, getting everybody where they need to be. But then post-snap, he was easily our worst linebacker out of our 3 that played consistently between him, Jamin Davis, and Cole Holcomb. It wasn't even close. He was terrible in coverage. Yesterday, he was terrible with tackling, as was a lot of people on our team. But, I mean, it was just a typical Jon Bostic day, so I wasn't surprised. And then he ended up getting hurt towards the end. But again, it was time to replace Jon Bostic even before he got hurt. And now that he's hurt, it's kind of like we're forced to. So we could look into the Benardrick McKinney situation. Last time we saw him, he looked great, but for the Dolphins to trade for him and then release him for free definitely scares me. I mean, even the fact that the Texans were willing to give him away for such a cheap price to the Dolphins, and then again, the Dolphins got him, gave up picks to get him, and then within the same offseason just released him for free, and nobody wants him right now. Nobody else is calling him up. That does scare me. Maybe he has some undisclosed injury that other teams know about. Maybe us as fans and the media don't know about it, but there has to be something going on for him to just be sitting out there because he's not even that old. And again, the last time we saw him, he looked really good. Then you have Jamie Collins, Pro Bowl year, then worst linebacker in the NFL, then Pro Bowl year, then worst linebacker in the NFL. Maybe he was pulling a James Harden with the Lions because he looked lethargic out there. I mean, he wasn't even sprinting at times. He didn't even really try to set the edge some plays against the Packers. He didn't even try to tackle guys. It looked like he was playing one-hand touch. Like there was just no passion, no effort, no motor, no nothing. It looked like he was pulling a James Harden to get out of there because they were looking to trade, and he played so bad. And again, it's not even just how bad he played, how poorly he played. It's just the lack of effort and passion. It just looks like he doesn't care out there. Like he's just trying to collect a check and go home. He doesn't care about the result, whether they win or lose. And that may be just him pulling a James Harden so that he can get released from the team and he could choose where he wants to go. Maybe that's a strategy. I don't know. Or maybe he's just that bad. But if he's not, I mean, when in doubt, he's still owed almost $9 million by the Lions, guaranteed money. So I'm pretty sure money's not a factor. If we wanted to bring him in and at least give him a chance on like a veteran minimum, I'm pretty sure he would do it. And I think it's worth a try. I mean, at this point, are you going to depend on Khalid Hudson? I like him a lot. But just like Sadiq Charles. Both of them have a lot of talent, but we just haven't seen them do it at the NFL level in a regular season game yet. And do we want to put the balance of our season in their hands? Again, I'm not expecting much out of Jamie Collins at all, but if we can sign him to a veteran minimum, it's kind of like, why not to me? And next up, Logan Thomas. He suffered a hamstring injury, but good news, he's expected to be week to week. So not too bad. Definitely something to monitor. And John Bates, when he came in, was pancaking people. I mean, he was blocking so well. He looked like our best blocking tight end easily. He was a better blocker than Logan Thomas, but also he doesn't have that receiving capability that Logan Thomas has, at least not yet. So, I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones and John Bates, you put them together, they kind of equal a Logan Thomas, but it's nice to just have a Logan Thomas that is both out there on the field. But again, I mean, it's not like Logan Thomas is out, it's time to panic. John Bates held it down in the blocking game. Ricky Seals-Jones wasn't terrible in the passing game. It was just really good coverage on one that got broken up. I believe he dropped it or something like that. And then another play, Taylor Heinicke just threw it over his head. But I feel like it was like on purpose, even though it was a 2-point conversion. I think it was a 2-point conversion. But the way he threw it over his head super high, like no chance for him to get it, it kind of looked like it will live to play another down. But I think it was a 2-point conversion, so that was weird. But nothing really to comment on as far as Ricky Seals-Jones, as far as his play against the Falcons. I had to check the all 22 to look at him every snap to see like how he blocked and stuff. But remember that catch he had against the Giants. So it's not like we're in panic mode. And when in doubt, this means this is Sammis Reyes' chance to finally be active on the game day and show us what he could do. Maybe they bring in a tight end from the outside from some other team that's in free agency. I don't know, but I feel like the better choice and the more likely choice is just to activate Sammis Reyes against the Saints and see what he can do. I'm excited, man. I really want to see my boy play. I want Logan Thomas to get as healthy as possible, and I want him to play against the Saints if he can. But I also don't want to force it. If he's banged up, don't risk him getting even more hurt because we're really going to need him against the Chiefs the week after that. So if he's ready to go, sure, play him. And then, of course, Sammis Reyes would more than likely not be active. But if Logan Thomas is not ready to go, activate my boy Sammis Reyes. Let's get him on the field. And then Curtis Samuel, no real update, which is good news because his debut for the Burgundy and Gold, not just a season debut, but his career debut in the Burgundy and Gold against the Falcons went very well health-wise. He's good, not banged up, no setbacks, nothing. Terry McLaurin banged up on that one hospital ball that Taylor Heinicke threw, literally set him up to get hurt, but it's cool. Of course, it wasn't on purpose, but Taylor Heinicke, just like Peyton Manning, I discussed this in my review video, they just tend to throw hospital balls. They set up their receivers, their running backs, the tight ends to get blasted by defenders. I really want him to work on that, please. Like, I would prefer if you didn't keep doing that. But hey, man, his gunslinger mentality, it wins us games. He has good plays, lucky plays, and bad plays. And it is winning games as long as our defense isn't the worst in the NFL. Once they start playing how they're supposed to play, I can see us beating a lot of these teams people are expecting us to lose to. But yeah, man, back to Terry McLaurin. He looks good. He only missed one play from the hospital ball that Taylor Heinicke threw to set him up. And then he came right back in. And then you saw what he did, carrying us to a dub, you know what I'm saying? Then Antonio Gibson, another victim to the Taylor Heinicke hospital ball. I mean, Taylor Heinicke was basically like, well, I'm going to get hit if I don't throw this to you. And I know you're about to get blasted by a defender, but better you than me. And so Antonio Gibson went down for a little bit. It may have just been him getting the wind knocked out of him, but I was really afraid of that situation. First of all, you just shouldn't throw hospital balls in general. But Antonio Gibson is already dealing with a shoulder injury. Then he had this recent shin injury that made him even questionable for this game. So to just throw hospital balls to a guy that's already hurt, that scared me. But I'm glad to hear that he's okay. Then Dyami Brown, he got hurt, but so far today, no serious news from him. So I'm just assuming with the Washington football team omitting information on him, that is nothing serious. They just seem to update everything that was serious. So if there isn't an update on the player, it sounds like they're good to go. Granted, we'll see on Wednesday when we get the official first injury report of the week heading into the Saints game. Y'all know we get the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday ones. So we'll see Wednesday what's going on. And same thing with Cam Sims. He was banged up in that game, but no serious news coming from it, so we'll see how bad that situation is. But again, I'm optimistic since we haven't heard anything about him or Dyami Brown. And then, of course, Benjamin St-Juste, man, I hope he's out of concussion protocol going to this Saints game because, boy, we needed him. He's looked like our most consistent cornerback so far this year. And Torry McTyer, I like him, and I feel like saying he got killed against the Falcons is blown a little out of proportion. He got beat a few plays, but I wouldn't say he got like just straight killed. It wasn't as bad as Kendall Fuller. But again, Benjamin St-Juste has been our most consistent cornerback. He hasn't made the best plays. I would say William Jackson has had the highest highs, and then he hasn't necessarily had the lowest lows, but he's had a lot of lows. Kendall Fuller has had the lowest lows and the most of them. But Benjamin St-Juste has definitely been our most just consistent, dependable cornerback this year so far. And, I mean, the fact that he's a third-round rookie is crazy. But, man, we really need him back. So, hopefully, we'll see throughout this week if he's recovered from concussion protocol, because we really do need him. I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't think y'all understand how much Benjamin St-Juste matters to this team already. It is crazy. And wait a minute. Just then, breaking news, federal law enforcement conducted a raid at Washington facility last week. Team says head trainer Ryan Vermillion placed on administrative leave due to an ongoing criminal investigation that is unrelated to the team. Why can't we stay out the news? What is wrong with us? What is going on? Whoa. Boy, it's always something, isn't it? Well, hey, man, I appreciate the view. That's the end of the video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button. Again, endless content coming, film sessions, all of that, man. I'm getting to it. You know I'm draft guy, and I may do a really early mock draft at some point, but I'm going to save it because we just won a game, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear draft talk after we won a game, and we're only 2-2. Granted, the way we've lost games and the way we've won games is concerning, but before the season even started, looking through our first 4 games, we kind of expected to be 2-2. At the very best, 3-1, because we were super underdogs going against the Bills going into that game, and even during the offseason, we were looking at the Bills game like, I don't know. So everything's kind of right on schedule. Granted, again, when you actually look at the games, the way we're winning, the way we're losing is concerning. But at the end of the day, we're still 2-2. And again, I know people with us still having a season to win and us still being division contenders, people don't really want to hear a lot of draft talk. But I may come out with a way too early mock draft sometime soon, especially like after a loss if we lose. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe we go undefeated for the rest of the season. If we do, that's great. If we don't, next loss, expect a way too early mock draft. But yeah, man, I appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel big time, man. I really appreciate y'all. Shouts out to Vegas that met me at the game. We took pictures and everything, man. Appreciate the support, man, from me to you. For real. Big shouts out to you, man. And then also shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate all y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.